Here we go, chaps. The First Omen. There we go, nice poster. This is the same one Immaculate was in last time. Tiny one. Got a screen to myself. Got a screen to myself. Hello! I'm in the car and I'm talking to myself. I'll tell you where I am. I'm sat outside the Chinese takeaway. Waiting. So I thought I'd film this while I was waiting. So, double header this weekend. My son's away, so I got to go and see a couple of things that were above the 12A. So First Omen was first off. I really enjoyed it. Cinematography was absolutely stunning. You were taken out of the movie as you were watching with how beautiful it was. The acting was incredible. The lead girl, I'm sorry I don't know her name, and that was just amazing. So beautiful as well. I don't, what is it with sexy nuns? Is there any such thing as an unattractive woman becoming a nun these days? I do feel they got the feel of the 70s Omen really well. Everything fitted together. There were some really nice scenes. I had been told it was quite brutal and very gory, which I don't think it was. There were a couple of scenes that were like, oh yeah, that's nice, but nothing really disturbing like I was expecting from what I'd heard. There's one little bit. Now, I'm going to discuss spoilers right at the end for both movies, and I will let you know when I'm going to talk about them. There's something that did confuse me a little bit, and I'm going to talk about it and see if you can help me with that. But the First Omen, really enjoyed it. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. So I'm just out of Civil War today, which I knew nothing about. Which is the story of a couple of photojournalists and a journalist making their way across America in the midst of future civil war that's broken out between lots of different factions in America. They're trying to get to the White House to interview the president, as it's the big, the big interview that everybody wants, and they want to try and travel across America to do this, even though it's very dangerous. Really enjoyed it. I thought, again, the cinematography was just absolutely beautiful. The soundtrack, I had to actually Google. I'm in the back row of the cinema. There was no one in the back row at all, so it wasn't that, I wasn't putting anyone off. I had to Google one of the songs at one point because it was so beautiful. I just loved it. It's the one as they're driving, sort of, it may be nighttime, it's through a forest and there's like fire and stuff. It's that one. Quite a ballady, slow one, but beautiful. It is quite realistic in terms of war. It shows a lot of death. I feel that for someone like me, that's, Jesus, I don't know what's pulling up beside me here. For someone that's me, that's a big horror fan, that likes quite extreme movies, I do feel they could have gone a lot further with some of the scenes, but I do feel if they had have done that, they may have alienated quite a wide audience, because not a lot of people like to see things quite as visceral as I do. War's a very visceral thing, and I would have liked to have seen a little bit more, but it is quite bloody. It is quite brutal in places. It doesn't shy away from showing what happens when someone gets shot. The acting in this is superb across the board. Kirsten Dunst's fantastic. She's such a kick-ass character. I loved her. And she has with her a young girl who idolizes her, that wants to be like her, that wants to be a photojournalist, and she's kind of showing her the ropes through the movie. So acting, spot on. Cinematography, spot on. Soundtrack, beautiful. Sound design, really good. The cinematography is breathtaking in places. You really are taken out of the story to just, like, wow. When you look at some of it, it's just so stunning. Jesus, my Chinese is ready already. Here, Darren's coming. So I'm going to have to do the end of this driving. I'll switch you this way a bit so you can't just see me. I'm just doing a review for my main channel. I'll pause you until I get onto the road. That's what I thought of the movie. Now, before I get into spoilers, there was a part of the ending, how Civil War ended, that irritated me and Darren both. We both had different thoughts on... We both predicted partially how the movie was going to end, but it didn't the manner in which that ending came about was not what we would expect, and both of us feel it was a wasted opportunity. But I say the First Omen, I would say a 3.5 out of 10. 3.5 out of 10, have you heard me? 3.5 out of 5. That one, overall as a film and how it was done and stuff, I would say 4 out of 5. I did really enjoy it. I just that bit at the end is the only thing that did hurt me a bit. So if you're watching this and if you haven't seen either movie, please don't watch any further because I'm going to talk spoilers. I'm going to start with the First Omen, so if you've seen that, you're welcome to listen. I'll warn you before we're going into Civil War. I'm just going to throw this question at you. It confused me and Darren a little bit. He can maybe add if he feels there's something I'm missing. So the First Omen, spoilers again, don't blame me if you haven't seen it, spoilers. So the premise is this young girl in an orphanage has been birthed, and she is the daughter of the devil. And the Catholic Church are flagging a bit. They want to scare people into turning back to religion, and how they're going to do this is they're going to resurrect the Antichrist. So the devil has birthed this girl from a woman, and then this girl is then going to be impregnated again, or the child, when she's old enough, by the beast, and they're trying to have a boy. Now, why the Antichrist has to be a boy surpassed me. I know plenty of evil witches, but the Antichrist has to be a boy. So,
well, like on Prince of Darkness, that's a spoiler, wasn't it?
So basically, this young girl that's in an orphanage is that young girl, and it becomes very clear that multiple attempts have been made to have this Antichrist. That the baby has been born deformed 14 times, I think. Because its father's a beast, and you don't know you're going to get a human child, and they have all kinds of deformed children born. Now, I think it's a bit predictable that the main nun that we follow is going to end up being that girl that we're sort of led to believe all the way along, that this young girl in the orphanage is going to be the Antichrist's mother, and she is, and she's got the mark in the top of her mouth. But it is pretty predictable, I feel, and you felt, that the nun that we're following going to take her vows, she's actually going to be the chosen one, not this young girl. Now, what confused me and Darren was, why are there two? Are there more than two? All of those babies that it shows us pictures of that were failed attempts, were they all failed attempts from the young girl in the orphanage? They must have tried with the nun, previously, because she kept having flashbacks to that ceiling with all the weird paintings, and she kept having flashbacks of a beast on top of her, so it has to have happened to her. And if it hasn't happened to her, why hasn't it happened to her? Why are there two women? I thought there was only supposed to be one woman that's going to have sex with there's only going to be one woman that is impregnated by the beast.
So going on about the photograph, this is going to be the mother of the devil.
It shows this photograph all the way through that they say is the young girl in the orphanage, but it turns out that photograph is actually the nun, because the mark is in a different place.
She's got the mark on her, but then it turns out two have got the mark on her.
This is what we didn't understand. Why are there two? There was only supposed to be one, and if there are two, are there more? It would have been fine if I said to Darren at one stage, maybe this orphanage, it's just a female orphanage, no boys. Maybe they're doing it on all of them when they're old enough. Maybe they're just going to keep impregnating young women until they're successful, but that's not addressed. So we're sort of left with, well, hang on, she's the chosen one, but she's the chosen one as well. Are there more? Why is there more than one? And if there's more than one, why is there only two? Why is there not loads? So we were confused by that. So if you know the answer to that, maybe you know more of the lore in the background, haven't googled it, haven't looked it up, let me know. Obviously put spoilers and leave a few lines so we're not spoiling it for anyone. But yeah, that sort of we were with Civil War, spoilers, end of Civil War, was really on board with it. We obviously have the the young teenage girl that's following Kirsten Dunst, looks up to her, wants to be the war photographer, fully on board with all of that. I don't think Kirsten Dunst should have deleted that photograph that was taken of her mate when he was shot. That's a powerful image. don't think her character would. Well,
it's an insult to him.
You get the impression that he was like a father to her, and I think she deleted it out of respect. She didn't want that image to be out there for his family to see. I don't know, I didn't tell you, but she deletes this image, and she's put across as being this really, I'm going to get into the thick of it, I'm going to photograph when people are being shot, I'm going to photograph them dying, I'm going to photograph their dead body. And the young girl has sort of issue with this. She's like a bit more emotional, and Kirsten Dunst's character said to her, look, you need to document this so this can be recorded and passed to the people that ask the questions that stop this sort of thing. She becomes quite disillusioned because obviously war's never stopping, it's always ongoing, isn't it? But she's like ballsy, and I love that they put a ballsy character. I love that they didn't do her all up and everything. They just had she's beautiful, but they just had like a woman that wasn't fully made up and wasn't like in there being glamorous. She just, ballsy woman, and I like that. But the issue me and Darren had, now there's one scene in it, if you've seen it, where the young girl is taking a very feminine photograph of Kirsten Dunst in a clothes shop trying on a dress, and she looks really pretty. She looks, feminine.
I caught her smiling, and she never smiles.
And the girl said something to make her laugh so that she would smile, and she takes her photograph, and me and Darren turned to each other and said, her character's going to die, and that photograph is going to be on the cover of like Time magazine or something, and that is going to be what breaks the young girl's journalism career open. We predicted Kirsten Dunst's character would die. We knew it was coming, and we sort of like, this young girl's a protege, she's going to be like her. And then at the end, obviously, Kirsten Dunst does die, saving the young girl who does something idiotic. We didn't like that because by the end of it, I'm so sorry for saying Kirsten Dunst and the young girl, I can't remember their character names, I don't prepare stuff. She was getting really good, and she was in the thick of it, and she was taking some great shots, and she was really maturing, and then right at the end she does something really fucking stupid, and Kirsten Dunst jumps out to save her, like she does in other points of the movie. She feels very protective of this young girl. I think she sees her as a young girl in her.
That was stupid.
So she jumps out. She could have, as you know, if you've watched this, you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, you're stupid for watching this. The young girl's like in the middle of a corridor taking a photograph of a guy that's very clearly about to shoot her, and Kirsten Dunst could have jumped out and shoulder barged her onto the floor out of the way, but she doesn't. She stands in front of her like that.
Yeah, shoves her to the floor instead of pushing her to the side.
And it's like,
and then stands there.
Why have you done that? Darren said, and he's got a point, potentially, because we see Kirsten Dunst's character nearing the end having a complete meltdown. It's like she's lost it. She loses it completely near the end, and she just is having hyperventilating all sorts. Darren says maybe she killed, maybe she did it on purpose, which maybe, I don't know, that's why I'm asking you. But we wanted to see that photograph that's taken in the dress, which is really, it's like a really ironic photograph. We wanted to see that come up at the end. Also, when Kirsten Dunst's character's lying on the floor dead, I feel that the young girl should have taken a photograph of her body, because that then would prove how she is as ruthless as Kirsten Dunst's character was. And we see Kirsten Dunst's character deleting that photograph of her friend out of respect. We see her thinking, no, I've taken it, but it's going. And that would show how this girl was one step further, and how she was going to make it as a photojournalist, how she was just going to be ballsy, just like Kirsten Dunst, and that one step further. She was going to take that photograph of her hero and she was going to use it. And it's, neither photograph is ever addressed. That photograph of her in the dress that shows the side of her that no one will have ever seen, because she's known as being a very professional photojournalist. Nobody's seen that.
She could have had herself taking the photograph of her smiling in the mirror with her in the photograph, taking the photograph.
Well, that wouldn't look good on a cover.
But it just, so many opportunities. It's
like the fact that it didn't address that dress photograph, and the fact that she didn't take that final shot of her lying on the floor, and if she did, it didn't show it. I felt it ended way too abruptly. It didn't, to me, it wasn't as important, the president being shot and it being photographed, as it would have been her taking that final photograph. For me, I'm not invested in the president, or whether the president's shot or isn't shot. We know what's going to happen. We know that's the end goal, that's what's going to happen. It was important to me to see the evolution of that character come to it, to see it in completion, and her taking that photograph of Kirsten Dunst's body on the floor would have been that evolution complete. And I feel that it like, that disappointed me. In saying that, I love the movie, and that is maybe just a personal. Darren feels the same, and he's not a yes man. It's like, you know,
well,
people,
I turned to you to say it before you told me. So
it's like we both thought exactly the same thing. I would have loved to have seen that, and we didn't, and I feel that was wasted.
And even at the end, when they put the photograph on, that could have been the magazine cover.
Yeah, there's a photograph put up at the end that it's like, well, we know they shot the president.
Yeah.
They're all standing smiling, and the president's like, well, we saw that.
Was the black girl actually there?
Yes, I didn't think she was, but when I re-looked at it, she is at the front kneeling down. Because I'm thinking, where's the girl that actually shot him? She's not in the photograph, she was. She just didn't look very feminine in the end shot. But, because I couldn't find her either. But at the end, they could have addressed everything by having Time magazine with, they could have had a double shot of her in the dress and her lying dead on the floor.
The end photograph, which was supposed to be the group shot of them with the president, you couldn't even see the president's face. It was just some guy laid on the floor with a suit on. Well, that wasn't a poignant end. To me, the poignant end would have been a photograph of Kirsten Dunst and it, you know, taken by photographer, blah blah blah. That's what I wanted to see, but we didn't get to see it. There's the other famous magazine that is about about photographs.
National Geographic.
Yeah, you know that.
But yeah, we did. Well, I enjoyed it. Did you like it?
I liked it.
We just
annoyed it.
Wasted potential. So yeah, that was really long and waffly, guys. I do apologise, but I just wanted to see what you guys thought. Come back to me, and if I've missed something, let me know. But please put the word spoilers at the top of your comments so somebody doesn't have the movie ruined for them. So yeah, we're now going home to have Chinese. I'm allowed one treat meal a week. It shouldn't be Chinese. That's a disgrace. But Isaac's away. Isaac goes away once a year. This is only the second time he's ever been away, and I'm flipping treating myself to a Chinese.
I'll throw one more frustrating thing.
Right, you're making my video.
After the point when the bodies were in the pit and they escaped in the 4-wheel drive.
You never got to see the soldier.
No, the soldier had all the time to aim and take fire. What was strapped to the back of their vehicle that was bright red against the white?
I have no idea.
The fuel tank. They put the fuel canister there, which was full.
Right, yeah.
And the soldier's like, what shall I shoot at?
Yeah.
That bright red. No, and what's the point in shooting a fuel? Blow the fucking car up.
Well, that would have ended our film.
Well, it could have destroyed the car, but you know what I mean? It's like he's a trained soldier with a bloody MR16 or something. No, I won't fire at the fuel tank. I thought that was the whole point of the fuel tank being there. It was going to come in at some point. But.
Yeah, well, there's several things that were set up that we thought were going to come in at some point and just never did.
But again, the professional photographers, we've got a helicopter outside J.C. Penney's in a car park.
We're not going to get J.C. Penney's in the background. We're just going to get the helicopter from different angles.
Which could be then anywhere.
Yeah, there were different times me and Darren were saying, why aren't they shooting that? Why aren't they shooting this? What are they doing? I don't know what that person's doing. Are they parking or what the fuck are they doing? They've just stopped in the middle of the fucking road.
Oh, they've now put it on.
It's not even parked, it's right.
It's abandoned in the middle.
I'm just going out to come in a bit, because I'm a bit too far to the middle. Because I couldn't get an angle because of stupid bloody drivers. A woman driver, might I add, just in case you think I'm sexist. It's a young girl that's only just passed her test. She's got her R plate up. So yeah, that's what we thought. That's what we were disappointed in. We both enjoyed both movies and would recommend that you check them out. So thank you for watching. I should be back at some stage with something or other. Thank you for watching. Over and out. I'm Lisa.